Okay, so Kong Skull Island is coming out, so I guess I'll do what every other film fan on YouTube is doing and talk about Kong. If you know me, you know I am obsessed with King Kong. I think it is the greatest movie ever made, the original 1933 King Kong, and it's one of the first films that ever inspired me to be a filmmaker. I have to say, if I was making a list of my key influences, Ernest B. Schoedsack and Merian C. Cooper would be, like, one of the front runners on that list. They just are master filmmakers for their time. And let us not forget Ruth Rose, Mrs. Schoedsack herself, who wrote a kick-ass screenplay. For a story that went from writer to writer, most of the dialogue in that movie is hers. She was the one who really gave it that adventurous Cooper and Schoedsack feel. She pretty much made the characters almost autobiographical in a way. If you look up who Ernest Schoedsack and Merian C. Cooper were, you'll see that Jack Driscoll is very much like Schoedsack, and Carl Denham is very much like Cooper. Let's not also forget the amazing special effects by Willis O'Brien that were revolutionary for their time. I know everything's CG nowadays, but there really is a charm to stop-motion animation, and he was the inventor of it. But I'm not here to give a review per se, I'm just here to talk about one specific aspect of the film. And that aspect is Kong himself. You see, I was gonna do a video of my top, 30 characters, because there are just so many characters I like that I couldn't fit it in a top 10 list. But Kong ranked number 1 every time I changed the list. And that really got me thinking. Lady Macbeth? Lost to a monkey. Randall Patrick McMurphy? Lost to a monkey. Patrick Bateman, Alex DeLarge, Rocky Balboa, Lauren Hind, whatever the fuck, Vanessa Ives, Alucard, the Joker, the list goes on. They all lost to a fucking giant gorilla. Why is that? I think it's because Kong is one of the first characters I ever grew emotionally attached to. Let me take you back to my childhood. It's 2005, so Peter Jackson's remake is just coming out. Around that time, a special 2-disc special edition DVD came out, and I was at Target and asked my aunt to buy it. Later that night, we watched it, and my life was changed forever. The visual effects blew my mind. I was also really obsessed with dinosaurs at the time, and I recognized some of the footage in this film was also used in an old VHS documentary for kids called Dinosaurs Fun Fact and Fantasy. But overall, I just liked looking at this movie. I loved the old black and white feel. I swear, if you watch this movie colorized, it's just not the same. There's just a beauty to the way this film looked, and the adventure was just so fun to watch. I loved the characters. But the thing is, I didn't expect Kong to die. Yeah, I thought he was gonna swat down those planes and win the day and maybe get sent back to Skull Island or something. But no. They gun him down. And it's really not his fault he caused all this destruction. He really doesn't know any better. He's in a place that he's unfamiliar with, and, you know, he's a giant gorilla. And the best thing about Willis O'Brien's animation work is that you can clearly tell what Kong is feeling. He ascends above a basic visual effect and becomes a living, breathing character. And all he cares about at this moment is Anne. And the real tragedy of it is Anne feels nothing back to him since she's scared shitless of him. I do like the way they updated Anne in the 2005 version. I think it's the one character change that exceeds the original. But at the same time, the original has its own tragedy to it since there's no connection between these two characters. It really is a one-sided relationship. And the time he takes focusing on Anne leaves him open to attack. And the way you just see Kong get weaker and weaker and start to slip off the Empire State Building and how the music just swells up, it's really emotional. And then when he finally fell, my jaw hit the ground. I couldn't believe it. They just killed King Kong. I also love how you never actually see Kong hit the floor. It just gives this scene more of an emotional punch. Hell, the music almost becomes the thud sound effect in itself. And that famous final line by Carl Denham, played by Robert Armstrong, really staples the tragedy of the whole scene.
Well, Denham, the airplane's got him. Oh, no. It wasn't the airplanes. It was beauty killed the beast. Beauty killed the beast.
This scene stands the test of time for me because it proves you could take a seemingly horrifying monster and turn him into a sympathetic character. This idea was expanded upon in Peter Jackson's 2005 remake, which we'll get into next time.